start with the characteristics of a broker. This is more important. There's more that we do if we do our job right than just showing you space. But let's start with the most simple thing. The number one most important thing is honesty. You have to believe that the broker you're working with is honest. Because the worst thing in the world to do is hire a really smart guy who's dishonest. You'll get killed. And it's actually one of Warren Buffett's tenets. Always hire honest people first, smart people second. If you get them confused, you can really lose a lot of money. So the first thing that you want a guy like me to have is market knowledge. You need to understand what's happening in a macro sense with the marketplace, what landlords are doing, what the trends are, what the situations are. You also want to have a knowledge of what's happening individually with the various buildings. You should be able to describe where the rents are. You should be able to describe where the concessions are. The next thing is you need a broker to be a good listener. I often tell my clients when we go out and do a tour of office space, I'm going to listen to things you tell me that you think you want. And I say that you think you want because clients don't always know exactly what they want. And then we're going to go do a tour of buildings. And I know that my clients won't like 4 of the 5 buildings that I show them. But I know that because I'm going to listen to the feedback on the buildings they don't like as much as the buildings that they do like, that when we do a second tour, I'm going to be pretty good at getting where they want to be. I'm listening to what they're saying. It's important because you sometimes have to read between the lines, and you sometimes have to ask the right questions, but it's just hard to be good at any of the other skills you need to have as a broker if you're not good at listening to your clients. The third thing you need to have, and you should note I'm putting this as number 3, not number 1 or 2, is negotiation skills. You have to understand how to create leverage in negotiation. You have to understand when to slap the other guy and when to give him a hug. You have to understand that the other guy is sometimes bluffing and sometimes telling you the truth. And you gain that through a lot of different experiences and skills, but basically, you want someone who's been in the business a long time and has learned how to negotiate. Next, you need advanced math skills. In commercial real estate, again, you guys look at this as sticks and bricks and big fancy buildings. I just look at it as income streams and numbers. What's the rent? How much does that cost? What's the rental structure? How do we set that up? What's the value of the free rent? If I give up so many months of free rent in exchange for a reduction in parking spaces or a different base year, how does that impact the bottom line? So you need somebody who can really model these various options. If we're doing a buying versus lease analysis, what's the impact of changing the interest rates? What's the impact of changing the amortization schedules of a loan? You can go through all these different things. You need somebody with advanced math skills, somebody who can help you guys understand the real estate. The next thing you need is loyalty. You need somebody who works for you. And that seems like it should be simple, but it's not. If you aren't careful, you'll find yourself in a position where you're hiring a broker who has a bunch of listings and he's taking you to his listings. Well, let's assume that that happens. That broker has a multi-year, long-going relationship with a building that has 50,000 square feet of space. He's going to make a lot of money off that landlord over the next 5 or 10 or 15 years, hopefully for him, whereas you represent a one-time check, and it's not nearly as much as he makes off that building. So you want to make sure that the broker that you're working with is loyal to you first. So a lot of the listing guys, be careful because they get into situations where they represent both sides, and I would never allow a broker to do that if I was you. Finally, you need somebody who represents some professionalism, someone who's going to get things done on time, someone who's going to understand the business, someone who's been at it for a while, someone who's going to, the reports are going to be accurate, the analysis are going to be accurate. Experience. You want someone who's done it for a while, someone who has been through the trenches. I can come up with a lot of examples of situations that I've been able to solve because I've been doing this for 20 years where perhaps a rookie might have a little harder time. Finally, what we do in our business is we really work hard on making sure there's full disclosure. Every single time we send a proposal out on your behalf, you will have reviewed it and you will approve it. When we get a response back from the landlord's broker, you'll see the raw proposal that we got and you'll see a spreadsheet that spells it out. When we get a commission, you'll know in advance what our commission is to the penny. On every spreadsheet we ever do, the bottom line of that spreadsheet always includes what our commission is. We do that because sometimes we make a lot more money on building A than we do on building B. And you probably, if we're doing our job, don't care that we make more money on building A than we do on building B, but you want to know if we're pushing building A or building B because we're making more money. And so to take that totally off the table, we disclose that to you. And we think people should always bend over and try to disclose too much rather than too little. So let's talk about the broker's jobs, tasks, and benefits. The broker has 3 main tasks: to understand your current situation, to educate the client, and to facilitate the transaction. In understanding your current situation, we want to know how much space do you want, and we also have to be able to figure out how much space do you really need. We have to be able to discuss the economics of your current situation, your location, your competitors, how important that is to you, your parking situation. If you're a law firm, your parking requirement is much different than if you're a call center. We can put law firms into different buildings than we put call centers into. We have to know the timing. Do we have 3 months to get a deal done or 18 months to get a deal done? Proximity. Who do you need to be close to? Who are your clients? Or who do you not want to be close to? Who are your competitors? Signage. What are the signage requirements for your business? Do you need an expansion? Are you the type of business that's going to likely to be growing? Are you the type of client who's going to want to create an extension because you want longevity, like a dentist? You're putting a bunch of TIs in and you want to be there for 15 years. So you want to sign a 5-year lease but be guaranteed the right to extend. Flexibility, how important is that to you? What price ranges make sense? What are your expectations of the market? These are the kinds of things we need to understand before we ever start talking to you about what building makes sense for you to occupy. We need to provide you information. We have to give you market data, research, reports, and our insight. It's going to help you to understand the process. I always tell people the only time I ever sell our client on anything is the day that they decide to hire us. Once they've hired us, I know you're going to go somewhere. I know you're going to make a selection of a building, and I know I'm going to make a commission, so I don't have to sell you anything anymore. What I want to do now is advise you. I want to educate you. So we really think that that's the second most important thing in terms of this process of our tasks, is to get you educated, take you out and tour your properties, help you to compare and contrast the benefits, the pros and cons of the buildings. If I know I'm going to get paid no matter where you go, I'm not afraid to tell you that the ownership of this building doesn't have very good financials, or that other tenants of the building aren't very happy. I don't have to just tell you all the good things to make sure that you go to that building and I make a sale. We want to help you evaluate all of your attorneys. It's important that we have no horse in the race. We don't want to be in a situation where we want to push you into building A. I always say to my clients, I'm going to explain all the real estate. I can't understand your business well enough to help you make the business decision. Once you understand all the real estate, your own knowledge of your business can help you decide whether building A, building B, or building C is the right building for you. We really work hard to say, okay, that's it. We've done all we can do. What do you want us to do now? We never are going to say, you should really go to this building. We just don't think it's constructive. The third task for us is to facilitate the transaction. Remember we talked about how busy you guys all are? Well, the fact is you've got better things to do with your time than to do research and to set up tours and to meet with the architects and get the drawings and everything else. And so we do all of that. We create the proposals. We create the letters of intent. We evaluate the responses the landlord sends us, put them all on spreadsheets so you can understand them. We negotiate the lease terms. All that back and forth and the haggling, both in writing and back channel conversations between us and the brokers, we take care of all that. We help to refer to you the efficient professionals that you're going to need in the transaction. You want someone to help you give an estimate to what it costs to relocate your space? We can refer you someone to do that. We need an architect to do the space planning? We can refer you that person. Contracting, phone systems, we have accountants, attorneys to review the lease. Because this is all we do, we know guys that are good at that stuff, and we refer you those professionals.